Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Giver. We're here for another week, another solo with just me talking to myself. Well, talking to you guys, which I hate, but I also love. I love coming on here and connecting, and I feel like I get such good feedback, but I do definitely like it when I have someone to like bounce conversation, ideas, topics off of. But alas, we're here alone. I took a week off last week and it wasn't planned and it was absolutely necessary. And I'll get into it a little bit in this episode because it's been an interesting couple weeks for me. I feel like I've been almost in uber control of my surroundings and my environment, like what I'm eating, when I get to go to the gym, just like controlled variables. And it hasn't really been like that for the last couple of weeks. And I definitely can feel a change in my mental health, which is something interesting to note because I don't think control is the only way to feel like you're thriving or to feel like you're peaceful. I think when you get too obsessed with the control and think that you need it to be okay, it starts to become a little bit problematic. So I think it's a good kind of sign that I need to adjust a little bit how I'm taking care of myself. Okay, so let's get into it. We went to a cottage 2 weekends ago, I think it was, with all the people from Ian's podcast or Fuad's podcast that Ian is on. So Mike and his wife, Fuad and his wife, Paul was there. His wife didn't end up coming, and then Ian and I. So we rented a cottage in Ontario and we all went from Thursday until Sunday. And I'm going to share as much as I can without feeling like I'm like spilling someone else's news or talking about someone else's life too much. But Ian is my husband, so who he is and what he's going through does very much affect me. The week before we were supposed to leave for the cottage, it was a bit of a mentally rough week for Ian. He was having a lot of like questions in his body and his mind in terms of it was coming across as his ability to be successful as a bodybuilder. I don't think that's actually what it was about. I think sometimes things come out in different ways and we think we're anxious about one thing, but what actually is going on in our body is something completely different. So the week before the cottage, Ian had a bit of a rough time and he had messaged Fuad to discuss what was going on in his head and his anxieties and stuff. And Fuad had suggested that he not go to the cottage, that he stay in Ottawa and stay focused on his prep for the Olympia. He took the night and thought it over and he decided to go to the cottage anyways. So on Thursday, we left for the cottage and I was supposed to have a photo shoot on Tuesday. So we were going to stay Thursday to Sunday at the cottage. And this is like Ian is prepping for the Olympia, but nobody else is. So there's lots of food, there's lots of alcohol. It's a cottage weekend, right? We're partying. But I knew that I had a photo shoot on Tuesdays. It was just for fun. So there was no real pressure, but obviously you want to look good if you're going to be doing a professional photo shoot. I was going to do it with Karina, Coco King, who I did my last shoot with. So we got there on Thursday. I was kind of eating very healthy still. Everyone else was partaking and I was like making my salads. And I was drinking, but very modestly. And on Friday, Karina actually texted me and was like, I'm too tired. Like, I need a day off. I've been working 25 days in a row. I just need to, like, something's got to give. And it's you. She was going to shoot me for free. So obviously she's not going to cancel a paying client. And she told me that we weren't going to shoot anymore. So I was like, honestly, fuck it. Let's just go wild now. We're at the cottage. We can actually enjoy ourselves and not worry that we have to stand basically naked in front of a camera in 3 days. So I started drinking more, started eating more, went a little bit too hard on Friday night. Saturday night was much more low key because I was a bit hungover, to be honest. It's the first time I've been hungover in a really long time. And yeah, we had a really good time at the cottage. Ian stayed on, obviously, diet. We went to the gym every day. He was partaking socially, but not, with the eating and stuff. But it was still a lot of fun. Ian really likes being around those people. And so do I. I find it's very comfortable. It's very easy. There's a lot of trust. There's a lot of connection and intimacy. So it's not one of those things that feels like you have to put on. You can just be yourself. And that's very, very refreshing. And it's a lot easier to connect with people when everyone feels like that. So it was really, really nice. I came home on Sunday And that's when I kind of started to probably feel anxious alongside Ian, and that our house started to become this tense energy. And I try really hard to not take on other people's emotions, but it's also really hard, especially when it's your husband. So I had a pretty hard week, to be honest. I was very anxious. I wasn't sleeping well. I was sluggish. I didn't really want to go to the gym. I still did, but I wasn't enjoying it. I in this phase of my life, I enjoy going to the gym. That's why I do it. And I really didn't last week. I had 3 shifts at my new job. I'm working at Nobility Performance at the front desk, which were great. I still loved going, but it just, everything felt, when everything just feels a little bit forced. I was trying to check in with myself. I really was. I was like, what is going on? Why are you feeling like this? What can you do to feel better? I was doing everything I could. I was staying on routine. I was trying to prioritize sleep, water, trying to eat healthy. But my toxic trait is that when I'm anxious or stressed or a little bit depressed feeling, I eat like shit and I don't want to leave my house. That is an extreme version, right? So like really, really bad. Melissa goes into a deep, dark hole and probably, no, she does. She does some binge eating and she hides from the world. I wasn't doing that last week, but I was catching myself doing those little coping mechanisms that I've done in the past in terms of wanting to just like put on baggy clothes and veg out on the couch and just like eat and not, like I didn't want to go out, it's actually really sad, but that's definitely what I do. I use eating and like hiding to avoid this like anxious feeling that I was having that I really felt like I didn't have any control over. So I didn't go crazy, obviously, but there were like little things. I would have a shift until 7 and I would come home and then I would be like, okay, well, let's just go to sleep. Let's just eat, put on pajamas and eat until it's time to go to sleep. Whereas normal Mel is like, okay, let's, I don't know, have a coffee date with a girlfriend. Let's go to the gym after. Let's do some red light therapy after work. Like there's things that make me feel good and rejuvenated. And I was not doing those. So I didn't podcast last week. It was a very emotionally tense week in my house. And when I say that, I want to be very clear. Nothing is actually happening. No one's crying or yelling or anything. It's just kind of quiet and there's not a lot of laughter. And the normal Valier household is very funny and happy and we tease each other and we kiss a lot and we love each other a lot and we're just like very goofy, silly, happy go lucky people. And it wasn't like that last week. And I'm doing a lot of explaining because I want to acknowledge that I skipped a week of podcasting, but I also don't regret it because what was going on was so much more important than coming on here and doing a podcast. So yeah, I'm going to share Ian's news. He's not on here today because he had a massage. So he's in the East End. And again, it's been a pretty crazy last week. So I'm again filming this very last minute, but Ian has decided to retire from bodybuilding. So if you want to hear more about him sharing that news, go to his Instagram or go to his YouTube and he'll be on here next week to share more about it. But I just want to say it's a very good and happy and exciting decision for him. There is nothing going on health-wise. There's no physical injuries. It's more, I don't even want to say it's a mental health decision. I think it's just time for him to start a new chapter, to be excited about what he's doing every day, to set some new goals, to prioritize his health and his longevity. And yeah, so it's very exciting. It's very exciting. Earlier I said that a couple of weeks ago, he was having some anxieties about his like ability to perform as a bodybuilder. I don't think that's what the anxiety was about. I think the anxiety was about a little bit of misalignment in terms of his values and his current actions. I think bodybuilding used to be the dream and it was what he wanted to do and he wanted to pour everything into it and be the best he could be at it. And I think as you get older and life changes and time goes on, you've done enough in one thing, you're ready to start anew. So that's where we're at right now. And it's a very, very hard decision. I've shared with you guys my decision to step away from the stage, which was really hard. But imagine that times a million, because this is Ian's kind of identity, right? Like, I competed, I was successful, but that never really was my identity as a person. I don't think that's how people really connected with me. A lot of people didn't even know me as a bodybuilder. They knew me as other things. Ian is definitely known as a bodybuilder. He's easily the most renowned Canadian bodybuilder of all time, men's open bodybuilder. He's been to the Olympia 4 or 5 times. He's won 6 or 7 pro shows. He has amazing contracts from his sponsors, and it's a really big defining, or it was a really big defining feature of who he is as a person. So it was really hard to come to that decision. But I think what was happening was, you have to, anyone who competes knows that you're literally on 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. There's no stopping. You really have to do a lot of sacrifice and a lot of commitment to be a successful, especially bodybuilder. So he was doing all the things, but he wasn't really mentally in it anymore. And I'm just so proud of him for being brave enough to make this decision to step away on his own terms at his own time. I think it's huge. And I think he's going to be so happy and so successful in the future. And I don't know. I'm really happy for him. I've changed my life in the last 6 months, and I can't even explain how much better I feel and how much happier I am. And I know it's going to be even crazier for him, because the shit that those guys do to their bodies, man, it's so hard and it's so taxing and it's so exhausting. And I mean, Ian's young, he's only 32, but he's been competing for 15 years. So I think it's been an amazing journey. I said to him the other day, I'm like, we have had a lot of fun. We have done so much, and it's been so amazing. We've met so many people, being backstage, tanning him, traveling, Airbnb to Airbnb, hotel to hotel. It's just been so much fun, and I'm so happy to look back on those memories and just have nothing but joy, and to look forward and to have so much excitement. So I cannot post this until he posts his news. So if this is going up late, this is why. He's going to be on next week. Again, he was going to be here today, but it's been busy, and we're going to talk about it some more. And yeah, I'm just fucking stoked. I can't even explain to you. Every time I see him like share the news to somebody, my face just like explodes into a smile, because it's just so you can tell when he talks about it. Like, it's like when you make a decision and you finally make that decision that you were so on the fence about, and it's scary to make, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, that was the right choice. So I'm happy. And so is he. I don't even know what day he decided. I must have been, maybe it was Thursday. I came home from work and he wasn't here. So I got home, I started cooking dinner, and he pulled up in the truck, and I saw the truck in the driveway, and it stayed there for a few minutes. And I was like, oh, I wonder what he's doing. And then like 20 minutes went by. I'm like, and he wasn't having a good week. So I'm like, I should go check on him. So I walked out, and he was on the phone, and he came in the house probably like 10 minutes later, and he told me that he had come to the decision to not do the Olympia anymore, and to move on with his life to bigger and better, not better, just different things. So I'm really proud of him. And we had a very nice weekend. On Friday, we went to see a comedy show, which we didn't have to stress out about. We could go drive downtown and go watch a 3-hour comedy show, because he didn't have to worry about eating 3 meals in that time. We got home, we went to sleep. On Saturday, it was beautiful. Actually, no. Saturday was still nice out. Oh, no. Yeah. We went to the farmer's market. We walked around with the dogs. We got coffee. We came home. we went to the gym. I think Saturday it was pretty low key. And then on Sunday it was beautiful. It was very hot. Canada is having what's it called when you have like a late summer? I can't remember. There's a word for it. But August wasn't super great in Canada. But this first week of September is like 30 degrees and full sun. So we went to his mom's house and chilled by the pool all day. She cooked us lunch, which again was amazing because we could literally do whatever we wanted. We went to the gym and then we went straight to her house to lay by the pool. And we didn't have to worry about bringing meals or him eating. And then on Sunday, we actually decided to just go to my parents' house. Sorry, on Monday. Monday was Labor Day. We decided to just drive down to my parents' house. They live on the lake. And we spent the day on the lake. And we went tubing. And my parents went tubing. And Ian was driving the boat. And he fucking flipped them off. He like did a turn and they went flying. And I had an anxiety attack because I mean, my parents aren't old, but they're also not young. And my mom only learned to swim probably maybe like 8 to 10 years ago. She didn't swim when I was younger. She learned it like later in life, which is fucking badass. But he flipped them off the tube and they're obviously wearing life jackets, but it still scared the shit out of me. And they survived. They actually loved it. It was really fun. And then we had dinner with them and we drove home. So it was a really, really nice weekend. It's been really, I don't know, it's just special when you see someone kind of drop back into their life. And Ian just seems so much more present and so much, there's a lot of emotional freedom that's been freed up now that he doesn't have this kind of like looming anxiety over him. So I'm stoked. I'm really excited for him. And it's going to be a whole new world for us. He kind of woke up the next day and he was like, what do I do? Like, do I eat? What do I eat? And I was like, well, are you hungry? And he was like, no. I'm like, then you don't have to eat. It's really cool. We're both very health conscious people. So it's not like just because we're not bodybuilding or Ian's not on a diet anymore, he's not going to eat healthy. We like to eat healthy. We like to feel good. We like to work out. It's not like, ooh, freedom. We can eat ice cream for breakfast. No, it's more so like, oh, I don't have to eat unless I'm hungry. So it's really good. We actually went out and Ian bought some running shoes today. If anyone knows my husband and follows him at all, you know that he's a very big fan of track and field. He used to be a sprinter and a long jumper when he was younger. So I think he's thinking about getting back into that. I think I'm going to start running with him too. I did some sprints on the treadmill 2 days ago and he was watching, he was stretching, and I was like, do I look like an idiot while I'm running? And he was like, no, you look fine. You're very like, I don't even know the word he used, foot heavy when you run. And I was like, well, am I supposed to run on my toes? Am I supposed to run on my heels? What am I supposed to do? And he was like, no, you're not really supposed to like clonk your heel down when you're sprinting. So I need to learn how to do that. But doing sprints on the treadmill feels really good. It feels scary, especially when you get up fast enough. I think I got up to 11 miles per hour and I felt like I was going to eat shit, but it feels really good. Yesterday I did a leg workout too. And it just made me realize how much I have to get back into resistance training because my stabilizers, my muscular endurance in terms of lactic acid buildup, it's just so pathetic. I felt so awkward and weak, which is not how I want to feel. I want to be strong and I want to feel capable. So I'm going to start doing I'm going to say 2 lower body days a week, 1 sprint day a week, and then the rest will stay at list for now. I was listening to Peter Attia. He was on the Skinny Confidential podcast. And if you guys don't know him, go look him up. Really smart. He's a doctor that kind of specializes in longevity and he focuses on lifespan and health span. So not just living a long time, but living healthily for a long time. And he was talking about kind of the breakdown of training and how important it is as you age to stay strong and to maintain muscle. And same with your cardio. And he was talking about how you break down your training like in a week, let's say. And he said it's going to really depend on your goals, but also your percentiles. So let's say you're at the 5th percentile in terms of strength and muscularity as a woman, you're going to want to prioritize, and you're at, let's say, 60th percentile for your cardio, you're going to want to prioritize bringing up your muscle mass. For me, I'm obviously probably at a 99th percentile in terms of strength and muscularity for a woman. My cardio, probably not so much. So I need to balance that out a little bit. I need to bring up my cardio, my VO2 max. But again, my lower body, the muscle is peeling off a lot faster than the upper body. So I want to start, and that's just from an aesthetic standpoint, but also from a strength standpoint, right? I need to start training my lower body. So that's what's new with me in my training. I've increased my calories because I was starting to feel like, first of all, energy and performance was suffering. So I've told you guys before, I was tapering down. I was doing 65 minutes of cardio at the gym every day. And that was starting to make me feel really tired. I would almost have moments of like hypoglycemia at the end of my session. So I started to increase my food. I also noticed that my face was getting like really sunk in, almost like diet face, which it's really hard because when you're trying to lose muscle, you have to restrict calories. You're going to lose body fat and you're going to lose muscle. That's how you do it. But obviously you don't want to lose so much body fat, especially now that I'm 32, that I look like I'm sick in the face. So it's a weird balance right now. I'm focusing more on feeling healthy and feeling strong and less about the aesthetic, because I could become obsessed with always having abs. And that's not a way to live, especially if it's getting too lean. You know what I mean? Like that's not healthy too. I know I've been kind of keeping you guys, or bringing you guys along on our like fertility deep dive to see where we're at in terms of our fertility. I have one more test I have to do. I don't really know what it is. I think it's I don't want to say saline flush because that sounds weird, but it is something to do with that in terms of checking the health of my fallopian tubes. And then I have to do another round of blood work too. I'm going to do that. I'm a bit nervous, but that's par for the course for that kind of shit. And now that Ian isn't competing anymore, I mean, it's obviously better for that, right? I've said before on here, it wouldn't matter to me if we had a baby while he was competing, but the fact that he isn't is just kind of a bit better from a worry standpoint about his health. I think when you have a child, you start to take your health a little bit more seriously because it's now about more than just you. You're on this planet to kind of take care and nurture this beautiful baby that's yours. So you kind of have to be responsible, which is a lot better when you're not competing in bodybuilding and 280 pounds. 300 pounds sometimes. So that's very exciting too. I'm supposed to go see my aunt at her trailer at the end of September. And now that Ian's not prepping for the I kind of want to convince him to rent an RV and drive down there. Because they have a trailer that they have at their campsite, which we could obviously sleep in. But if he's coming, like, why wouldn't we rent our own and sleep in it and try it out? Because I don't know, I feel like it'd be fun. So that might be a fun little fall trip. And the fact that fall is coming is making me so happy. I love fall. It's easily my favorite of the seasons. It broke my heart when I was in Florida and I missed fall. So I'm excited for the fashion that comes along with fall. I'm excited for pumpkins. I'm excited for Halloween. I'm excited for the weather, for the farmer's market, for Thanksgiving. I want to host a Friendsgiving this year, so hopefully we can do that. Yeah, winter's coming, which is kind of dreadful. We were driving home yesterday and it was 8:00 and it was already very dark out. And I was like, okay, here it comes. Soon it's going to be 4 and it's going to be pitch black. But I'm trying to convince Ian to actually go to Australia for like 6 weeks of the winter and just kind of get a house and live there. But I was looking at flights this morning and it's fucking wild, the flight times. Like, I don't know how people do it. If anyone has any tips or tricks, please tell me, because the flight time was insane. I couldn't even believe that I think it was like 26 hours. I can't travel for 26 hours. That's just like insane. So maybe that won't be happening. I don't know. He really doesn't want to fly that far either. I had some questions on my Instagram about supplements and I want to answer them here. So let me just pull them up. Okay, so I was talking a little bit about inositol. I think I talked about it on here too, actually. But it's honestly, it's funny because I went into the cabinet and I was pulling out the Revive inositol because it's new. And there was a big, like, I don't even know what brand it was, but there was a big jar or I don't know, bottle of another brand. And I was like, babe, what is this? He's like, it's inositol. I've been taking it for years. I'm like, what the fuck? So obviously very good product. Ian is way smarter than me when it comes to stuff like this. And he's been taking it for a long time. So now that Revive has it, it's just that much better. But someone asked, what's the difference between inositol and IP6? There's different types of inositol. IP6 is myo-inositol. But regardless, Revive is it's just pure 100% myo-inositol, which is still great. I don't know if I've explained the benefits of inositol on here, but I'll do it again. So it helps with dopamine and serotonin, which are two neurotransmitters in your body. It helps regulate them. Low serotonin is associated with anxiety and low dopamine is associated with depression. That's an oversimplified way of saying things. They're both associated with anxiety and depression and addiction and all those kind of things. But inositol specifically, I think, is good for anxiety and improving serotonin levels, but also dopamine. It also helps with insulin resistance. So if you're experiencing insulin resistance, it will help combat that. I also think if you have PCOS and you struggle at all with any of those symptoms, I would definitely suggest trying it out. It helps with FSH and LH levels with keeping those balanced. And then also people with PCOS struggle with insulin resistance. So I would definitely try it out. And it is shown to help improve deep wave sleep. So I take my inositol at night, probably about 30 minutes before I go to sleep. And I take it every day and I love it. So that's the first question. Supplements for most female competitors. I can't say most, like, are you natural? Are you not? I would definitely be taking omega-3. I would definitely be taking vitamin D. I would definitely be taking liver, especially if you're not natural. I wouldn't take Women's Health if I was competing and taking PEDs. It would be silly. It would be a waste of your money, basically. It's not going to counterbalance usually when you're competing and you're close to a show, you're trying to drive your estrogen into the ground. So taking Women's Health to balance your estrogen would be foolish. Yeah, those are kind of like the main ones. I think you can get really into specifics. If you're struggling with digestion, I would take Digestate or a zinc carnosine. If you have a lot of anxiety and you have a hard time kind of coming down and slowing down, I would take Calm or I would take ashwagandha. If you are a caffeine abuser when you're prepping, I would take suntheanine because that helps kind of combat the negative side effects of caffeine, the jitteriness that you get and the kind of like cracked out feeling that you get when you have too much caffeine. Yeah, but honestly, it's very broad. I would want to know like what you're looking to get out of it. What's a good thing to support healthy digestion when trying to get shredded? So a fiber supplement is definitely going to be your best friend because when we're trying to get super lean, our calories are usually pretty low. So to keep a fiber supplement in to make sure your fiber stays high enough, that's very, very important. I would use a Digestate if you think you need a digestive enzyme, especially if like you are used to eating the same foods all the time because you're dieting and then you're going to go have a cheat meal or a bigger meal than you're used to or a meal with dairy. Definitely use a digestive enzyme then. Ian takes zinc carnosine. I don't. That's specifically if you feel like you have leaky gut symptoms because it helps with the lining of your stomach. That probably has less to do with dieting to get shredded and more to do with your gut health and the lining of your gut. But yeah, those are, I would probably say absolutely the fiber. I just started law school. What Revive Sups would you recommend for focus/calm? I would absolutely recommend suntheanine because again, that's going to allow you to use caffeine for focus and drink your coffee to stay awake and to study and whatever, but it's going to combat the negative side effects of the high levels of caffeine. I would suggest Calm, because that has a blend of like ashwagandha and other ingredients that are going to kind of relax you and help with cortisol levels. So yeah, those two would be good. What do you use on the daily now that you're 100% health focused rather than bodybuilding focused? I take zinc, vitamin C, omega-3, vitamin K, vitamin D, women's health, inositol, magnesium glycinate. I take thyroid because I have low TSH levels, so I'm trying to bring those back up, and thyroid has amazing ingredients in it for that. I think that's all I'm taking right now. Yeah, that's everything. Again, the thyroid is to help with my TSH levels because they're low. If you have ever taken exogenous T3 or dieted really hard and had any sort of metabolic dysfunction, thyroid support has ingredients like iodine that are going to help bring your TSH levels up. I'm also eating Brazil nuts to help with that. So we'll see if that helps. TSH is also very important in terms of fertility and ovulation in women. So important. Best way to know which supplements you truly need. Are labs the answer? Labs are a answer for sure. If you have someone that's going to do the right labs for you and be able to interpret them properly for you. But I do truly believe that we have so much more knowledge about what we need than we give ourselves credit for. And if you feel good, don't worry about it. But if you find that your sleep is suffering, do you find that your digestion is suffering? Do you feel like your hormones are out of whack? Are you having skin issues? Do you feel like your energy is low? Do you feel like you drink too much caffeine and you get cracked out? Do you feel like your blood sugar goes like this and you don't feel like it's stable? Really get in tune with yourself. And this is fun. Get curious. Be like, oh my God, I'm not sleeping well. Is it because I'm anxious? Is it because I feel like I don't really know why? I just sleep like a light sleeper and I wake up at the slightest noise. Do I have low energy? Do I crash in the middle of the day? Do I feel like my blood sugar is not stable and I get really hungry and really shaky really easily? Like, be curious with yourself. I would just think about how you feel and your quality of life and what could be better, and then go from there. And if you want to message me and ask me, then I'm so happy to talk about it. If your budget was limited, what steps would you prioritize as a woman about to be 33 in the gym? I don't know, like, if you're struggling with anything, but longevity, everyone, my parents are on it, everything. I would do omega-3, vitamin D, and vitamin K. Just start there. And those are something that I would invest in every month for the rest of your life, to be honest, because most people are low in vitamin D, and same with omegas. Like, they can make such a difference. So just start there. Best way to restore FSH/LH and its impact on metabolism and weight loss/muscle building. Girl, you need to try inositol 100%. And start with 2 tabs a day or 2 capsules a day, and then maybe work up to 2 capsules twice a day and just see how it does for you. Do you change anything up before getting filler or Botox? I'm not supposed to take omegas before I do that, but I can't lie, I do it anyways. How is the inositol dosed? 1 capsule is 1,000 milligrams, so 1 gram. For women's health, is it a vitamin? Does blood work need to be done prior to taking it? Yes, it is a vitamin. It's all natural. I don't think blood work needs to be done. It's going to promote estrogen metabolism. So it's not going to make it bad if it's already good. So I'm going to say no, but if you want to, and that's what you're comfortable with, absolutely. But how it's formulated, it's not going to make it worse if it's already okay, if that makes sense. Do you take supplements and vitamins all year long? Yes, I do. What is the best type of magnesium for sleep? I would say the glycinate. So the glycinate's going to help calm your nervous system and help calm kind of the stimulus of your muscles. So that's what I take. I take 2 capsules before bed with the inositol. We have a powder too, which is, I believe, a magnesium citrate. And that is good if you have like really hard poops. That's what I use it for, especially when I was competing. So if I had like any sort of constipation, I would use the magnesium citrate, but the glycinate is good for anxiety, your nervous system, relaxing your muscles, insomnia, stuff like that. So that's the glycinate. Okay, I have to go because I have a therapy session that starts very shortly and I need to get in the zone for that. Thank you guys for being here. Next week, I promise it's going to be Ian and I. I actually have quite a few questions from you guys that are pretty deep about relationships that will probably take us a long time to get into. And then he's also going to share a little bit about his decision to not compete anymore and what the future holds for him and for us and for our family. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for listening to Giver and being so loyal and sticking with me even when I skip a week. And I love you guys so much. And I'll see you next week with the big man.